Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thala Unbound. I am Adrian Bear, your storyteller for this game of wonderful people, and we are back for episode 15, Dark Tidings. Thank you all for bearing with us with the slightly later start today. It's just one of those things that happens sometimes. But why don't we go ahead and introduce our cast, and we will start with the very first person in the first box, our lovely Di.
Hi, I'm Di. You can find me mostly on Twitter at Decromania, and I am playing Zashi, monk extraordinaire, who's about to make some very bad decisions. It's going to be awesome. You can also find me over on Mondays on Rerolls playing Vampire the Masquerade, and Thursdays playing Reclamation D&D on YouTube on the Cookout TTRPG.
That's right. Next up is our Dom.
Heyo, I'm Dom. I fortunately am in the middle of a move to the US from Phnom Penh, so my camera and stuff is all a little buggered, but we're out here anyways. I'm playing Chuck, I had something for this. I've lost it now. Fungal barbarian druid guy with horns, and we beat the first big bad. Let's see what happens next.
Oh yeah. And of course, next up, the amazing Anne.
Hi everybody, my name is Anne Pierce. You can find me at _Anne Pierce _ to see what I'm up to. Today I'm playing Tuxel. She is a swamp druid who has already made some questionable choices and may make some more questionable choices before the night is over.
Indeed. Guru will be joining us a bit later on, but next up is our wonderful Ethan.
Hey there, I'm Ethan. You can find me everywhere at Ethan and Dragons, running games, posting random things I find on Twitter sometimes. And today I'll be playing a hardy cleric by the name of Valentine, who asks a lot of deep questions to this party. Stay tuned for some of those.
Indeed. And as I said, I am the storyteller, Adrian Bear, and you can find me at the Adrian Bear on all the socials. I run this game here in the Bear Pen, as well as Blood on the Bayou on Sundays, and I play some other games on the Cookout as well. So if you want to see me on any of those, just follow them socials. But for now, why don't we dive into Thala Unbound? Our party had made their way from the fishing village of Elin all the way back to the glorious city of Merranzen, the Eternal City. Entering in from the distance, they had seen the extremely high walkways and towers, the various ziggurats that dot the city skyline, Merranzen being as tall as it is deep. The structure of the city itself almost looking like a neuron in a human brain, in that because of the nature of the world, the way that cities shift and change, old sections are left to die off and new sections are built up and old sections are reclaimed, as is the nature of the world. So each of the cities sort of connect in this neuron-like pattern. And they had some discussions around a campfire before eventually making their way into the city, and Shashi had met the very same devil that it seems the hags had made their bargains with, and had a very interesting conversation for potentially a boon or a bargain to be made, with a simple request of traveling to a monastery and removing a single pebble from the gardens. A very simple request. Coming back into the city, there is a general hustle and bustle of daily life. You see people with their carts and selling their wares, newspaper people on the side of the streets, busy shouting out the daily events, and you see that for the most part, you've been away for quite some time in terms of everything, although you were speedier than you could have been thanks to the initial teleport out. All in all, it has been a total of 3 weeks since the Festival of Remembrance, which had been redubbed the Festival of Reclamation, once the wall had been taken down. There is a sense of normalcy about everything that happens in your day-to-day activities as you're making your way to the Guild of Unifiers, which is colloquially known as the Guild of Need, because it seems that whatever does not fall under the direct purview of the other guilds and people have a need of doing gets done by them. The building itself is almost in the heart of Merranzen and is 5-sided and is a bit of sort of a tower, a little bit of a stepped pyramid feel to it, but more along the lines of a tower. And the doors are open to you as you enter into the familiar halls. The entrance on the various sides of the hallway, you can see some statues of some of the guild leaders of the different guilds, and the central sort of courtyard spire, which you will access by another door, is where it houses the gardens, and it opens up to there are also stairs which you can take, which will take you up to the higher levels. The ground floors usually being for things like the quarters of the different guild mates and such. What would you all like to do?
We need to check in, don't we?
Probably
It might be
like-
wise. After you.
Oh no, please.
It would be wise to report back first.
Valentine, you're kind of, well, you're sort of new to the group. Maybe we should, do you belong to a guild? I don't even know.
And with the Guild of Bringers. But I suppose I haven't really asked a lot of you your guilds either. What do you all belong to? I believe, in guessing, we would have the Knowers for Chachi. For Chuck, if I'm remembering correctly, Growers was yours.
No, Chalk would slap V on the back and be like, "No, after our time in the Bringers, it was the Enders for me." And then he kind of points
Huh.
at the mushrooms in his head.
Maybe it was that other person back then. There was a lot of bodies in that time. I had to mark a lot of people off, I suppose. And Tuxel, yours evades me, if you would enlighten me.
I was brought here to be a member of the Growers.
I see.
You are all sort of making your way inside, and this time of day it is roughly around lunchtime, so there are still the smells that you can smell in the air of the preparation of food and such, but you remember that the mess hall is on the 2nd floor. But as you make your way sort of into the doorway that leads into the central courtyard, which would take you up to where you would eventually get to the almost like a boardroom or meeting room, essentially, where Lady Shan holds all these activities. You do see the groundskeeper, Zanya, who is sort of a man in his late 50s, a little bit portly. He is Asmar, and he is busy pruning some of the hedges and, well, not hedges, he's busy pruning some of the leaves on some of the trees and such. And he hears you all come in and says, "Oh, it looks like you're all back. It's wonderful to see all of you. I imagine you're going to be needing some food or some showers or some such, or
Is Chalk aware already of where that food would be?
yeah, the mess hall is on the second floor.
Okay. At that prompting, I think that's exactly what I'd be responding to.
You might be muted, Chashi.
Oh, sorry. I like
Not us.
I'm actually
Sh-
hiding slightly behind Shachi and Chuck because I'm trying to actually hide my wings. I'm a little concerned about how people are going to react to a changed, pretty drastic change in appearance.
uh,
And I'm not flying as much. I'm walking.
So you had a little bit of rapport with Sonia, and but he does see you. He's like, "You're looking well, Mr. Stuxel. Did you would change something about your hair, or?" He didn't roll well in his perception, but he enough to
Wow.
see that something's different.
Travel can change a person.
That it can. Well, why don't you go upstairs? I'm sure Mary will have something for you to eat.
Thank you.
And you will make your way upstairs to the second floor of the building, and eventually there is, at this time of day, a couple of people, the different, there aren't too many people that actually end up needing to run this guild when people are here. It's a slightly different thing because they have more people that will be taking care of cleaning the rooms, etc. But there is you see that Chetna, the librarian, she is busy sort of like eating in the mess hall as well. And you see Mary busy sort of like bringing in some things, and she sort of waves over to everyone and says, "Oh, hello, like, it's so lovely to see all of you. Oh, it's been a while." And she just comes straight in and gives all of you like a lovely a hug. And except for Valentine, says, "Now, I don't know you yet, so I will ask your consent if I can give you one of these, but welcome."
If that is how you prefer to greet people, so be it.
Oh, very formal. I like this, man. And she gives you a bit of a hug there. Well, what can I get you all? Gosh, you've been away for a while now. I imagine you'd probably needed to see Drexel. Oh, the man is in a terrible mood. Well, that's kind of normal for him, like, but I would say, maybe be in your best behavior.
Has someone not been on their best behavior?
I don't think so, but Drexel's always busy with so many different things. Honestly, the man works himself to a standstill, so there's only so much that hot chocolate can do for a person's, mentality.
Are there lots of open tables?
Yeah, there are quite a few open tables here. There are a few other people in this room, but just like people that would take care of some cleaning and cooking and stuff like that. But they're, as far as things go, generally speaking, the Guild of Need doesn't keep like house guards or anything like that, because you know the Unifiers are here, or Sean or Drexel can usually take care of stuff, and who knows what other defenses this place has.
So I'll take her by the hand and lead her to one of the tables. Don't you get a lunch too? And I try and sit her down next to me.
It is one of the benefits of being the cook is that I get to eat as often as I like.
Well, sit with us and tell us all the things we've missed.
Oh, goodness me. Well, you know, after the whole debacle, there was quite a bit going on. Our poor Shan was out for quite a while, as you can imagine. She was just so exhausted. Drex has been taking care of a lot of things. I've heard that apparently the Arch-Chancellor has been causing a bit of a kerfuffle. He's been wanting some kind of official inquisition and something along those lines. But, you know, obviously, being here, I hear a lot of things people talk about their day-to-day. It is almost like being a bartender, you can imagine, but except I don't necessarily serve alcohol. Not that I can't, but if you want something, I can sure bring it up for you.
And I do make a point of trying to get her to sit next to me, and then as she's talking about all the things that are going on, I'll just pour her some water from a cup, real casual, pass it to her, like we're just going to be here for a minute. What kind of inquisition?
Oh, the gods alone only knows. I imagine it's got to do with everything that happened, you know, the attack during the festival and who might be responsible. Like, I don't pry into all these details, but that's the best I can imagine.
Well, like you said, you know, as people are talking and eating, sometimes things just, you know, come out of their mouths.
Exactly. Now, speaking of eating, she sort of like puts a hand over your hand. I thoroughly appreciate that you want me to take a load off and sit down for a bit, but I am quite used to all the work, my dear, so don't worry about that. What can I get all of you to eat on this wonderful afternoon?
And I pat her hand back. Oh, we just missed you too. Whatever's special today, whatever's fresh.
I remember you're mostly a vegetarian. Well, I can fix you all up a nice vegetarian stew. How does that sound?
Amazing.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Actually, young man, if you wouldn't mind, and she sort of holds out a hand to Chalk.
Oh God, that took me a minute to get. How would I go about that?
None of the special ones, please. Just the tasty ones.
Yeah, I guess I'd pull them off myself as a sign of respect. No need to make her go plucking for him. She's already doing the cooking.
Thank you. I'll be right back. It won't be a moment. And she trundles off to get your stew ready. And it doesn't take very long, but while everyone is here, you can all make me a perception check.
Yes, please.
Yay, rolling dice.
Ooh. That's a natural.
Okay.
Oh, good. So
If you have any bonuses that relate to hearing-based perception checks, I don't know if any of you do, but you know.
I mean, total it's 4, but you know,
I am pretty average. 12.
Okay.
14 on my end.
Okay.
One moment, sorry, the dice are. I didn't have a box for it. Okay, here we go. What was it? Perception?
Yes, indeed.
Where are you? Perception? Where'd I write you? 11, 12, 13.
13 and 14 and 12. Okay. Fantastic. So all of you hear the sort of general vibe of people eating and sort of like enjoying their food, etc. And I would say that Valentine and Shock, you also do hear like a bit of grumbling quickly going past the entry door into the mess hall. Chuck, you recognize the voice as Drexel. Like he's grumbling about stuff, but it's like, you know, an in passing of the doorway, you can hear his grumbling and moving. He's not moving into the hall here. He's like moving past.
Well, hopefully a little food and some time will let that settle down.
Indeed. But after a while, Mary does bring your plates of food, and you know you've gotten used to the wonderful cuisine that Mary makes. She's a very accomplished cook, and it is a delicious and hearty vegetable stew. And Chuck's mushrooms have added a very nice sort of savory flavor to the dish as well. It is, you know. There is also today another kind of fruit which is inside it, which for those of you who are familiar with it, it's known as jackfruit. It's an actual thing. You can make all kinds of things with it and sort of give vegetarian dishes more of a meaty texture when you cook it right, and there is some of that in it there. So it's quite delicious. And she brings you some bread as well. And she doesn't even have to ask. And she sets down a little jug of mead next to Chuck. And she's like, I knew you weren't going to ask, but it's implied at this point. So.
Big old grin. Sorry, what was this woman's name again?
Mary.
Mary.
Yeah,
Mary, you know me too well.
Well, that's my job. That's my job. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. You always take such great care of us.
Well, that's the least I can do, really. You all put your lives on the line often enough doing what needs to be done around here, so I figure a good meal sets everyone's mind at ease. Yeah, the stew is delicious. Are there any conversations any of you are wanting to have during your meal time?
How much should we tell Drexel everything? If he's that grumpy, if he's that put out.
I think we're better off, at least at this juncture, being forthright.
In my experience of dealing with many commanders and such, or lieutenants, being often in poor mindsets, you get it out of the way. You rip the bandage off rather than withhold it for later where it festers and becomes worse, much like a wound.
He's not given us a reason to distrust him. I don't see any reason why not to share everything.
I would like to pick their brain about this. What was it you said? Tuxel, something about an inquisition. That I'm quite intrigued about. Hearing Miller's words previously as well. Must admit it has put my mind slightly on edge.
I lean into the table a little bit, whispering slightly. I want to know who's leading this Inquisition. If our suspicions are right about who might be involved in some of the activities we've been investigating, it goes pretty high up, wouldn't you say? And well, who's investigating it may be the same people who need investigating, perhaps. I just
Interesting
want to know.
theory.
While I appreciate their dedication to learning more about the situation and finding the root cause of it, it seems like there's more going on here than can be solved by simple interrogations.
I agree, and part of my concern is that if an Inquisition just sort of comes up with an answer and then walks away from it, that would be convenient.
Indeed.
I'm sure we'll be relying on that inquisitive mind of yours, Chachi, about the next few days.
Yeah, you guys will notice that Zashi is just sort of like moving their food around, taking a couple bites, but is clearly distracted by something. And indeed, I think we should bring this to Sean at the very least, and we should absolutely find out more about this Inquisition and perhaps speak to the leaders in charge. And I would like perhaps a hour or so to go and check in with my guild leader. I have some questions to ask him.
Same, but my guild leader, not your guild leader, but same.
Well, I'm sure he could help answer any questions that you have as well.
But so we're decided maybe to start with Sean first.
We're here.
Why not?
After your meal is complete and you've had a couple of discussions, Mary brings the customary after meal sort of like very traditional style hot chocolate with the chili pepper, and it gets poured into a cup and it foams up and everything. So are you wanting to make your way up to see if Sean's office is, if she's in her office, or are you wanting to go to Drexel's office first?
We can stop at Drexel first.
Okay. So Drexel's office is on the 3rd floor, and you do actually find him in there. The door is closed when you come up to it. It's not locked or anything like that. Are you just going to go in or knock, or?
It is always polite to knock.
Yes. Seems like a time for knocking. It is I who knocks.
You knock on the door and you hear the voice. Yes, what is confounded, Mary? I always told you I'm not eating right now. I'm far too busy.
I poke the door open and kind of like I'm doing the action over here and I forget that I'm not on camera. I kind of, poke my head in almost like you would, like kind of going into your parents' room. Drexel? We're back.
It's about God's damn time. Come in, boy. Come in. Yes. And Drexel's office is well enough maintained, but there are mountains of books in different places, and there are shelves with different oddities on, and his desk is quite a tall desk, very carved out of wood. It is just absolutely covered with books and files and other things. You can almost barely see his face behind the books as his chair is set behind it, and you know that he has a couple of things stacked on his chair to sit on, because he is a small gnomish man but insists on having an enormous desk and an enormous chair. For visual reference, he is older. He has sort of like the bald top of the head, but long gray hair on the sides. He wears sort of mage-like robes, and his draconic heritage sort of manifests in a few bits of like scaling at the top of his balding head. Is very much like the DM in the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. That's very much what he looks like. But you all come into his office, and he stops writing and looks up and says, "Well, you're back." Get to it. I know you're here for a reason. So much to do, you have no idea. Sort of rubs his eyebrows there, and what's everyone's passive perception?
Yeah. Mine's 12.
12?
13.
Okay.
13 also.
I do want to kind
Ah.
of angle over by his desk and kind of try and take a casual look at like what books might be open on top.
Sure.
Like-
Sure. I would say with the 13, even at 12 is enough to see just the absolute bags and dark circles under his eyes. You can tell that he definitely has not been getting enough sleep. And the books that are on his desk, there are a number of things which are kind of ledgers, requests for building assistance, requests for help with repairs. There are also a number of books that are relating to symbology and a couple of different volumes by different authors which are relating to symbology. Some of them are stacked up, and there is also the book that is most noticeable, the one that you see next to the ledgers, because this one is open, Tuxel, as you look over there. What languages do you speak?
I speak Common, Draconic, Druidic, Elvish, Infernal, and Sylvan.
Excellent. All right. This particular book is in Elvish, but the Elvish itself is not an Elvish that you would actually understand. You recognize and know that it is Elvish because you have you are all aware that the speech and the writing and everything that exists on here in Thala is different from that of other planes and other spheres, etc. So you know that it's Elvish because you've seen like references that relate to books that come from off-world. So you recognize it as Elvish. You can't really read what it says, but like, okay, you know that's Elvish, but it's off-world Elvish. But there are diagrams and such inside it, which they are, all of them look to be like devices.
Does any of it remind me on the writing of those gold plates that we took and some of that writing that we couldn't read as well earlier?
No, it does not. It does not. But it definitely sticks out to you that okay, he's obviously doing research on some of these things, but because he's looking at devices and it's nothing that exists in our world, so maybe we've got to look into whatever records we have from other places. So, how did everything go?
Well, before we get to that, I noticed your grumbles were a little extra grumbly today. Is everything going on all right? Is everything all right here? We've been gone quite a while. I can't imagine you guys weren't busy.
Exceptionally busy. There is far too much going on right now, and we have you to take care of these things, but you were already on assignment. So I have a backlog of requests. I have the Arch-Chancellor's office right up my... Let's say that they are very insistent on trying to organize this damned Inquisition meeting that is supposed to occur, and we are supposed to be there and relay what we have seen, but we only have so many hours in a day. And then he notices Valentine for the first time. I have no idea who you are, but I imagine you are with them.
That's right. I'm Valentine from the Bringers.
Excellent. Hold on a moment. And you see he touches a pin on his chest. Cadmiel. Yes, I'm taking one of your people. No, you can't say no. Confound it, man. I am busy it is our right. Yes, fine. Don't give that tone to me. Yes, What was your name again?
Valentine.
They say their name is Valentine. Yes. Damn it, I'm fine. And he goes off. Anyway, you have to report and get some papers, but I need your help because we need more people. And basically, young man, you have no choice at this juncture.
Right, back to the job then. Understood.
I completely forgot what you had asked me 5 seconds ago.
About this Inquisition, you say there's a meeting, and we are expected to attend?
Not just you, but it is recommended that you are there. The guild leaders are to be there. A number of the major noble houses are to be there. It is supposed to be happening on the Arch-Chancellor's island home. It is to determine exactly what has been going on and what is known about these attackers and what we can do about it.
Recommended by whom? You said it was recommended that we be there. Recommended by whom?
Well, the Arch-Chancellor's office for one thing. Also, I'm sure Sean would like you to be there as you were boots on the ground as well on that day, so to say. Although I'm sure she has more information for you. And he sort of sighs and says, yes, Chuck, I remember what you were saying 5 seconds ago now, thank you. Yes, I apologize. I have not seen you in a moment, and yes, I am overworked and tired, and I am exceptionally grumpy. I am nearly 650 years old. I don't have the patience for bureaucracy that I used to.
No apologies necessary, Drexel. We are very grateful for you having, taken care of it while we're gone, and we are happy to be back to relieve you as much as we all can, I'm sure.
Thank you. I am pleased to see that you are all alive.
And on that note, we found a very interesting thing down below their fishing village of is it Illan?
Indeed it is, yes.
Illan. Some mind flayers. Some of these guys might be a lot more equipped at it was all very new to me. I did not know things like that existed.
I'm going to, while Jacques is talking, I'm going to take out the symbol that I found that we took an etching of and pass it over to Drexel and say, this image, we've seen it in several places, but it was quite prominent underneath that fishing village, and it's been a great source of mystery. If you have any insight.
Yes, Mechanolith had relayed that this symbol had been found on one of the attackers as well, that you had shown to her before, and unfortunately it is coming up in a few matters which we are asked to potentially look into. I've been scouring what I can, and other than and you see the familiar tome of fables by the bard. His name escapes me at the moment. Oh gosh, Justin Lacal, of the bard Justin Lacal. It says this seemed to have note of this image in the region of archaeological interest to the south, and well, such information seems to have made its way to the Arch-Chancellor's office as well. I imagine that some of the fighting that happened in the city also helped to discover a body or two that was carrying this symbol. But yes, there is information about it in terms of we have an idea of the archaeological site. Now, we have many choices available to us in terms of which of our numerous activities we are going to be exploring next. One such activity is requested of us as a personal favor from a member of the Dragonborn nobility with relation to said archaeological site.
What do they want specifically?
That is something that is to be discussed. We have been given notice, as it were, to have an audience as soon as we can with a certain Lord Nassan. And we need to arrange that as well. Everyone make a history check for me.
You sure I'm good at these? No.
18.
Nope, nothing.
Oh God, no.
1.
Oh no!
We're relying on Chachi for this one, I think.
The name sticks out to you, Shashi. Yes, history. 7. Shashi is the one indeed that is on the ball for this one. You have definitely heard the name before, and once you bring up the following information, then it sparks a bit more of a court in Valentine. But the information that you know about it is that Lord Nassan is the head of the White Dragonborn nobility. He is the head of that house. He is quite a collector and sort of like adventurer in certain circles in terms of his desire for exploring ancient ruins and collecting artifacts and archaeology. And the reason why that would ring a chord to Valentine once you mention it is because he was actually in his younger days one of the sort of generals of the sort of noble armies. So he was very active and was very high up in the noble military, and he is said to be a brilliant tactician, very, very great mind. And he is also, was respected for his strategy, his military mind by General Cadmel, who is the leader of the Bringers. So that is the information that you would know.
Who are we to deny the request of such an eminent pillar as Lord Masan? And where may we find him?
Well, that is to be decided. Once you return, and Sean has been wanting to see you all and sort of debrief and give you what information she has. And I believe once you've spoken with her, we can begin arranging this meeting.
Of course.
There is also the matter, and she looks to Tuxel and to do as well, of we have a request from Lady Ixalawa with regards to the area that was destroyed within the city. There is still the detonation site which needs exploring. It has been rendered safe. It took quite a few days, but the explosion was contained, and in theory, there's no danger there now. But if we can recover anything from the center of the detonation site, it would be appreciated.
Is there a map? Has there been any survey done?
Not as yet. There have been a number of mages and druids that have kept, shall we say, probing the perimeter and using various magics to make sure that it is relatively safe. But as something like this could potentially impact many different guild members and the local populace, it had been deemed that this might be something that we show a unified front on, although the makers were definitely clamoring to get in there themselves and see if there was anything they could recover and perhaps tinker with, but, well, I'm sure they'll get their chance.
What about the gardens? What is the state of the gardens?
Well, that area has been decimated. Now, this was not the area of your project, by the way. This was a different area. This was one of the fields of growers near the area of where the wall was. But a lot of people lived there. And very few made it out.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, we had quite a bit of mourning, as you can imagine. But
I think Drew and I would be willing to head up that project. Of course, we'll check in with our guild master, and I look to Valentine and Joshi and Chuck, and of course, I mean, we make a good team too. So if we could all work together.
I think getting to the bottom of this ground zero area where this bombing happened, so that we can sooner prevent anything from happening like this again, should be our utmost importance.
And if we check it out, there might be some information we could bring to this Inquisition panel.
Quite. My thoughts exactly.
We'll take care of it.
all right, very good. Well, I'm here for any more questions. You might have, but maybe you should go up and see Sean.
Oh, I do have one question. My fellow companions seem to have these devices that they can communicate with each other with. I, unfortunately, and one of my companions are lacking these devices. Where can we find one for ourselves?
Yes, yes. I've received word from Zalas that Miller would be joining our ranks as Asta has been reassigned. So Sean usually keeps those. We can get you sorted out.
Excellent. Unless any of you have anything else.
No, I feel like this is a good place to take our leave and allow you to hopefully get some rest.
Not likely right now, unfortunately, but yes, thank you.
We will take our leave from you then.
Thank you. Yes, good luck and all that. And he sort of rubs his eyes again and picks up a pair of spectacles and back to work, I guess.
I'm going to wait for everyone to leave and then close the door almost. And then just for a second, listen. Does he call anyone? Is he mumbling anything to himself?
Make a perception check.
14.
14. He doesn't call anyone that you can make out, but you can definitely take out. You could definitely make out some mumbling for sure, and it's like 5,000 things for these people to do. And only so many hours in a day. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Buddy.
Yeah. And you all begin making your way up to Sean's office. It is right at the top of the sort of like 5-story structure, and the chamber is designed so that there is a center table with it's sort of like octagonal in shape or heptagonal. I can't quite remember what I had said. With seats for potentially a representative for each of the guilds to be there, and the far side by a sort of raised dais, there is a sort of chair where Sean usually sits, and her desk is there, and there is a beautiful stained glass window behind it where you can also look out onto the city if you wanted to. So the Unifiers have made their way up into Lady Sean's office, and you are able to see that she is actually by her own desk, and she is busy looking through some missives, but she does notice you as you come in, and there is a big smile on her face. Sean is around 5'11" or so, maybe 5'10", she's relatively tallish. She has brown hair. It is sort of tied up in the back, and she wears sort of like a almost dress / armor kind of combo. It's very elegant, but also very practical at the same time. She has very sort of amber colored eyes, very, very orange, stands out, but for all intents and purposes, she looks human. But obviously you will know, perhaps not Valentine this time, but I think maybe Valentine had been told during conversations that she is actually an ancient brass dragon. Yes, I believe you had been told. So that had been revealed for a while, but she is looking a lot better than the last time you had met her or left her in the care of Mechanolith while after she had expended a lot of her magical energy to open up the barrier that was that sort of kept people out of the oldest section under the Guild of Keepers. And she looks up and she sort of smiles as you all enter the room. She says, "Oh, thank goodness you're all back in one piece. It's so good to see all of you. Thank you very much for taking care of me. Obviously leaving me in Mechanolith's care was the right call there. So thank you very much for that. It's wonderful to see all of you and some new faces. I don't believe we've met before. I'm Lady Shah of Alaxis."
Valentine, the pleasure is mine. I've heard quite a bit about you already.
And she sort of, well, that takes some of the fun out of revealing my secrets, doesn't it? Well, regardless, it's good to have you all back. So much has been happening in the city since you've been gone, and, well...
So much has been happening outside of your city, too.
I am eager to hear everything you have to tell me. Come, let's sit. Would anybody like some refreshments?
I'm good.
I will have another mug of mead.
I'm sure I can arrange something. And she waves a hand, and there is a tray that seems to be picked up and is walked towards the sort of central octagonal table and sort of put down, where there is a lovely decanter of mead and some glasses there, and you get the sense that this is probably the use of like an unseen servant or something like that made its way there. Well, come sit, please. Let's debrief is as far as it goes, and I have so much to tell you.
I'll pull out a chair and sit down, actually kind of rather hard and exhausted. That was 5 flights of stairs. I don't normally walk that much. So Tuxel's just gonna kind of sit for a second.
What happened to your wings? They are beautiful.
Do you think so?
Yes, absolutely.
They're a little different. Some things to get used to.
Well, you don't have to. It's your personal business, I imagine. But if you would like to tell me, I'm more than happy to hear.
Actually, hold on. Oh, I need to get better shoes too. I would at some point actually love to talk to you about it, but maybe at another time, maybe after our guild business is done.
Okay. Well, I'm here when you are ready.
Tuxel, do you
appreciate
need some
that.
water? Tuxel, do you need some water?
That would be amazing.
Oh, here you go. Just ice
Thank
water.
you.
There you go. Just makes like just pops an ice cup and makes water out of air within air.
Ooh, thank you.
Imagine a shotgun mayo glass, and instead of glass, it's ice.
Nice.
Too cool for that.
So, I'm not sure where to begin. I don't know if you want to begin or if I should begin.
We were swallowed by a big thing, and it had other things inside of it. I think they were. We determined that they were a red type of ooze. So did we ever figure out what his name was? Or no, I don't remember. I know what it is as a player, but I don't know. Dew knows.
No, you had not figured out what that was because there's nothing you had really seen before or.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Anyways, we really don't know what it is, but it could turn itself into other races of creatures and have memories of people. Of the people it seemed to eat and have mind control powers. Don't worry, it's exterminated now.
We helped Jalan Miran vanquish
Yeah.
it.
You did what now?
Did we actually ever figure out what happened to those kids that we were looking for?
They did not.
They
They were long
did not
gone.
make it.
Damn it!
It was unfortunate.
I was
Yes,
asking because I missed that part.
Paladin Jalen Mirren, and I sort of look over to Toxel kind of pointedly.
Oh.
An ancient
Oh.
spirit
Oh.
that was underneath that fishing village was awoken somehow by something, and we managed to put it back to rest, but there was still a cost.
Well, perhaps we can try and send some people up to the village just to help them heal a little bit. We can probably arrange something.
Quite a lot
There
of
were
damage
also-
was done.
There was a lot of damage, and there's a lot to explore underground that we didn't really get to. We don't know how far that goes, and we found some things. And then I look at Shashi.
I pull out that engraving or the rubbing and say, this symbol, it seems to be connected not just to what was going on in the village and the powers underneath, but to what's been happening here in Merranzen, and it's too tied in to just be a coincidence.
Mechanolith had reported that you had seen the symbol as well, and it seems as if one of the other figures that were cut down during the attacks had one of these as well, in the form of a holy symbol of sorts, and this was picked up by the Arch-Chancellor's people. Drexel has been trying to look into it as much as possible, but the closest connection we have found are the tales of Jeston Lakal and this in the archaeological zone that is to the south. And once word had gotten around through the nobility, especially amongst the Dragonborn, it had caught the attention of Lord Nissan. He's, in his older years, has become a bit of an adventurer, an explorer of sorts, an archaeologist, and has always been fascinated by these tales of Jeston Lakal, although they are quite, what's the word for it? The man liked his use of hyperbole, shall we say. But this symbol, apparently he saw it somewhere in those ruins. Nissan has taken this as a sign that it is time to set forth and do a full expedition, and has co-opted us to be part of said expedition.
We think in this time of city strife that now is the time to do an expedition?
Well, we have so much to attend to that we cannot promise him an immediate start, but we should at least arrange a meeting with the man to discuss what he might know, and when we can promise our assistance.
Remember, Trexel, one step forward is better than standing still.
Drexel's downstairs. This is Sean you're talking.
Remember, I mean, My bad. Yeah. Remember, one step forward is better than standing still.
That is
Perhaps
true.
if he knows more about this symbol, which seems to keep appearing in places it has no right to be, and we still don't know what it means. And now it seems that it's a holy symbol. Uh, then perhaps Lord Nassan has more information than that may help us get to the root of what's happening here.
Hopefully. At the very least, we do have to arrange a meeting with him, but I imagine you've taken the time to speak to Drexel since you've been back?
He's very tired.
Hmm. And you
Well, he
know,
always is, but now he's even more tired than he usually is.
and you know about the Inquisition that is meant to take place. It is going to be quite the affair. I believe we have 2 weeks or so between now and the gathering. But it will take place at the Palace of the Arch-Chancellor. Many of the guild heads will be there, many of the noble houses, and it is the desire of the Arch-Chancellor to get to the bottom of whoever these people are that are behind this Oxala Libs movement and caused all that death.
Well, we do
I-
have a name, don't we?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You're on center stage.
Dargo, no? I looked to the rest of the group. That was the name, wasn't it?
Yep.
But who is the Stargo?
That's still a work in progress. That's still a work in progress, but don't worry. Soon we would have a name to put it. We have a name, and soon we would have a face to put with the name.
Lady Sean, has anything else happened? There was the day of great tragedy, but anything else of significance since we've been gone? Anything else from this Oxala Lives movement that we should know about?
For now, it seems their statement was made and they have been quiet for a bit of time. We have not seen anybody passing out any of those flyers, and there have been no stirrings, as it were, amongst the elements of the city to say that they were having other meetings. So, if there were a way that we could find some more information about them or some of their members, perhaps we can track them down in that way. So as far as that goes, no.
It sounds like our best bet is to follow this symbol wherever we find it and see where that takes us.
And I'm gonna go lean over to Valentine. Dude's gonna lean over to Valentine's like, aren't we gonna go look into those people that we had suspicions about in the Undercity?
We have a lot of things that we're going to be looking into. Don't worry, that event is still going to happen.
Okay, because I'm just curious, because it's happening in a few days. We kind of have a time limit on that one, buddy.
If you want a very clear timeline of things, I suggest we take today to rest. The day after, we can perhaps examine Ground Zero. And then the day after that, this event can happen. And then we can head south and examine this particular location. Unless anything gets in the way.
True. Challenge accepted. Time. We have to. Let's try figuring out who these Inquisition fellows are before the. Let's see who these movement guys are before the Inquisition happens in record
Exactly
time,
my
guys.
thoughts.
Well, I imagine we'd have to speak to Lord Nissan first, then, in terms of getting to the location. It's far to the south. You will be gone for 3 months via airship. Just to get there.
How fast? How fast the teleporting? Do you
Storyteller
know?
Yes.
question.
Yes.
The monastery that I'm removing the pebble from, or have been tasked to remove the pebble from, was that to the south or the north?
The north.
was to the
Roughly
north,
6
okay.
months via airship to the
6
north.
months by airship. Okay, I remember it was a several-month journey by airship, so it's in completely the opposite direction. Okay.
Completely the
You'll be
opposite
9 months
direction.
away.
Completely the opposite direction. And
Okay.
on
I just
that
think-
there is you had been told that should you accept that you will be told when it is time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I can. All right, good. Thank you.
And
And-
I was asking questions to the storyteller. She's the one that is in charge of the Unifiers, right?
Yes,
correctly.
Lady
Okay,
Sean is
cool.
the guild leader of the Unifiers.
Sweet.
Sean continues and says, there are some other things that we have on our docket, so to say. As you mentioned, there is the request from the Guild of Growers to inspect the site of the explosion. The Makers Guild has also put in a missing persons request.
Oh, who's missing?
Apparently on the day of the festival, you remember there were supposed to be, well, maybe you probably weren't aware of that, but the makers had prepared something new to show off during the festival.
Fire flowers?
Indeed, yes, the fire flowers. But those amongst their guild that were meant to activate these devices weren't there on that day. They're gone, missing. Somebody still activated some of the devices and used it as a distraction for the beginning of the attacks and explosions. So we
What?
have that.
Is it
What?
how specialized were these devices? How easy would it be for someone unfamiliar with them to cause them to go off?
I don't think she knows.
It's not my area of expertise, but this was a new creation of theirs. So I imagine either they would have had to have been operated by these members of the Makers Guild, or that information would have had to have been extracted from them.
In theory, at ground zero in this area, there might be some unactivated fire flowers then.
In theory, yes.
And they want them back.
In theory, it's all conjecture at this point. We don't have enough information just yet. And then there are other matters we've been asked to look into as well. If you saw Drexel on the way in, you probably understand why he is in the state he's in. I don't know if you... How much do you know about the workings of the skyships and the cable cars and the trams that run around the city?
I know most of them get iron. Most of them are dealt with by the Guild of Makers, so the ones that maintain them. That's pretty much it.
Can I roll to see how much I know?
Sure. Give me a straight intelligence check.
Oh, intelligence. Let's see here.
Unfortunately, there's no science roll. There should be a
Oh,
science
look, a nat
skill.
20.
Damn.
23. So a total for 23.
Nice.
Just wait, that's gonna be the only 20 that 20 we can get all night, guys.
You know, I rolled a
She was
nat
also
one
the
for
first
first
one,
roll.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Shashi, you were fascinated with these things and the workings of them, specifically because most of the power sources of many of the Arcana Tech devices require turquoise. And turquoise is grown by the in pretty much only one place that is at least near Merranzen. There are different enclaves around the world and Thala, but near Merranzen, they get their source from a city called a smaller city called Itzamna, which is the turquoise is grown by the blue dragonborn. They're called the Stone Singers. So while it is a gem, it is sort of organic in a way, in that they, according to the noble houses of the blue dragonborn, the god Chitan had given them the gift of stone singing, and had enabled them to grow these turquoise trees. So the city of Itzamna is the source of pretty much all of the necessary material for the Arcanatic. At least in Merranzen now. There are, again, other cities around the world. There are other stone singers around on Thala, but this is where they get their source from.
Okay, so and how do I say this? Oxamna?
Itzamna, Itzama. Oh, sorry, Zamna. Itzamna.
It's Zamna. All right. Okay, so I know all of this totally badass stuff about the Blue Dragonborn, it's Zamna, and how does this relate specifically to the question I was asking? I'm sorry.
Oh, the question was just how much do you know about the sky ships and the trams and the cable cars?
All run by the turquoise. Yeah, so I look at Lady Sean's like quite a bit. The turquoise Arcana Tech. Yeah, how is this important?
Well, for a while, there's been no contact with Itzamna for some time. And this Valentine, you know, because you and Miller had been sent by Zalas to go and scout out the Umil Woods. The access between Merranzen and Itzamna is through the Umil Woods, but there is people go in and seem to come straight back out, as if they cannot enter.
Miller and I were trying to do something similar before we came and met with the rest of you.
How long has that been going on?
It now has been probably almost close to a month now. So we have to figure this out as well. We've been asked to help figure this out. There's another thing that is on our plate. And she's shaking her head as well. There is so much going on right now. It is overwhelming. This is something that is not necessarily within our purview, but if we are asked to help with it, we can. Tuxel do. I imagine Ixalwa will fill you in on this. But to the east, to the southeast, there is the sort of port city of Yunantenango.
Mhm.
And
Beautiful
for
city.
this is quite beautiful, yes. The problem is that for a while there has been something that has causing the crops in the area to lose their hardiness and to lose their just their luster, and I'm afraid this is beginning to turn into something of a blight.
Mm.
What do they grow there?
Many of the wineries that are noted within our city, at least our region, are there as well. It is also a very good source of flint. There are flint mines in the area. So, and being on the Tenango Lake, it is big fisheries, a good source of trade, a trade port. So a lot of goods come in from the rest of Thala, and we have not been tasked with this. This is specifically to do with the growers, but if Ixalwa asks us to help, we can.
I'm giving Valentine like the side eye the whole time. Like I'm wondering if Valentine's tracking this the way I'm tracking it. And I'm looking to see if I have like a mind spell, and I don't.
This message. You got message?
You still have to speak into.
You have, and you go like, I got this. You take out this cup, like you take out a cup that has a string right to Valentine. You whisper into it, and he's like, I got you.
And flint on Thala would have the same uses as it does, here in our reality, right? Like it starts fires. It's.
Would you say Dude's been around to that city before?
There is flint. There is you also get a good source of chalk often around flint. So like flint near chalk mines, you would find flint like sort of deep in the ground as well. It's sort of like the bones of the earth, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
In our world, do we use it for weapons?
Yeah.
So.
And the quality, Sean would actually say this. The quality of the chalk that is pulled from this area as well is of exceptional quality and used by many spellcasters.
Isn't chalk like in like our reality? Isn't that one of the ingredients to make gunpowder?
It's saltpeter.
Oh, there.
Sulfur, saltpeter, and charcoal, basically.
Don't do that, home kids.
I did. I was in 7th grade, and I did it for a science project.
Nice. Question. DM question.
Do it at
I
home
know,
safely, kids.
yeah. With adult supervision. Anyway, would you say like I know we've all like before we all met, we all got around. Would you say Dude's actually been to the city? Because I don't want to like pull it out of my.
Oh, for sure. Itzamna is not too far. Not too far. Sorry. Yes, I mean Yunantenango is not too far. You'd be like a week in a boat would get you there.
I feel like that it just seems like a place in like crisp blue waters, wineries. That seems like Dude's place. That seems like a place.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Dude's been around there for sure.
Oh man, let me tell you, Valentine, if you ever haven't tasted the wine in Tokalongo, you gotta, man.
Yunantenango.
Yunantenango.
I'll put the spelling in our Discord for y'all.
Sweet. You gotta try the wine, Valentine, man. It's I'd say it's even out otherworldly.
The only time I drank was at church. Ever since then, I have not touched the stuff. But I appreciate the offer.
I will drink enough for both of us, buddy.
For
Yeah.
both of us, then.
Yeah, Chuck. Like old times.
Like now times.
I don't think doing Owen Chuck have drank for a while.
I had some beer on the way here.
Oh, true.
Lady Sean sort of stops for a second and sort of looks up. Okay. Drexel
Sorry.
informs me that you are to be joining us as well, Valentine.
Welcome to the crew. A second time, Valentine.
I imagine I will try and smooth things over with Cadmiel. I know that Drexel's been in, well, the poor man, he needs a vacation. But yes, I imagine you and Miller will probably need communicators. One moment, and she goes back to her desk and she brings out a wooden box, which you've seen before, and she opens it up and sort of there are a couple in there that you can take, and they have the symbol of the Unifiers on it, and it's just a pin that you can put, like Star Trek communicators.
Question. Does anyone else is anyone capable inside of the guild to do Drexel's job? Drexel's job? I thought he's like, high up there. He's like second to her. Isn't
He is the steward.
Is anyone else that is even capable of doing his job, like trustworthy enough besides her and him?
Is this in game or out of game? Like, are you asking DM, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think I know. I'd say do would ask. Hell.
Okay, yeah, cool. Because I mean, yeah, that's a fair question for Dude to ask.
Wait, is anyone even capable of doing his job? I thought it was like he's had the job forever.
Tag me in, coach.
I have been pestering him to train Chetna as much as possible. But there's... You've met Chetna. She is very...
She's nice.
She is. She's wonderful and very capable. She's also exceptionally shy, and she's such a sensitive soul. And Drexel's teaching styles don't always mesh with
he's a little rough.
Others.
He's a little rough around the edges, but I think I'm starting to really follow him down, let him relax a little bit. I can see him in his office. Oh, dude. Like he just sneezes. He's like, why do I just have this headache?
I think with everything that's been happening, and Drexel is an older gentleman, and with so much going on, perhaps it would be wise to push the issue and train her up. It's an awful lot to put on one old man.
Yes, it is.
We can't call him an old man. He doesn't like that.
I didn't say it to his face.
He can't hear you. Have you seen all the hair in his ears? He's downstairs. It's fine.
He knocks the broom up. I can hear you. I can see it now.
I will begin sort of pressing this a little bit more because, yes, as much as he likes to handle everything himself, he cannot.
Yeah.
Building on Dew's point, the guilds are very large. Merranzen's a very large city.
Yes.
The Unifiers is a large group. It seems inefficient to wait for us to come back to do all of these other important things.
Well, it's not that others haven't been trying. Others have been trying in terms of the the Humil Woods, Zalas had sent Miller and Valentine to inspect the area, but, well,
Valentine, what happened?
We went in, and after some time, we came back out without even recognizing that we had done so. Even through my abilities, I was unable to discover what it was. And so we decided to come back for some backup. And here we are today.
Remember, we're also the A-class on adventurers inside the guilds. Jigsaw.
Mhm.
We're the creme de la creme. We're legitimately on I forgot what they're called.
the A-team.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, the people that stand there and the representatives. We're representatives at Jigsaw. There's a lot more underneath us.
Of course, the nobles within the Blue Dragonborn noble houses have also attempted to make contact with the city and get in, but it started small, with passage being impossible through the woods. At
Do we
that
have
stage,
any-
communication in and out of the city was still possible, and people were able to teleport in, teleport out if they needed to, but then communication stopped. Scrying began to not work. Teleportation magic began to not work. This has been building and building.
Do we have any of the blue dragon the blue dragon singers here in Merranzen that were stuck on the other side here in Merranzen?
Currently, let me check. She returns to her table and she actually collects some of her notes. Yes. Yes, in the city, the noble house that maintains itself in the city is House Basra.
Oh yes, good people. I'm guessing the good people. I'm hoping the good people.
I assume, like many others within the nobility or not, there will be some that are good and some that are not. But House Basra does maintain its residences actually not far from your guild, Shashi.
I had planned on making my way to the guild house anyway. It's certainly an idea to step in. I look at
Can you read us?
and try to catch her eye and say, it is interesting that the main power source for a lot of tech and a lot of raw materials for our technology both seem to have been compromised.
As has a food source and a source for our weaponry, all at the same time.
And that
More and more, none of this feels like coincidence.
Nope.
the thought had crossed my mind. Things are occurring within our world. Things have been relatively stable for a very long time, and those threads are pulling apart at the seams.
We can look into all of these things, but I think if I had to guess, they're all going to point in the same direction.
It is possible. What we do have, for sure, is the meeting of the Grand Inquisition meeting in 2 weeks. That we must attend.
Of course.
To arrange a meeting with Lord Nassan is necessary. But we will have to take care of whatever we would like to take care of before I commit any of you to a 3-month-long journey. You had mentioned before the idea of teleporting, and fortunately, that area, it's not possible. It's never been possible. The jungles that hold those mountains, when the ancient cities fell there, whatever caused them to fall into ruin, that turned those mountains into glaciers in a frigid landscape in the middle of a jungle, that magic has prevented teleportation. Mostly due to it being an area of just high magical density. When you do cast spells there, they are, you must be careful. They are more effective, more potent than they would be at other places.
Are there, between this place and its Zamna, are there any other places that we can't teleport into? Is this a common situation, or are these the only two on our entire planet?
Thala is immensely large. I imagine there are probably other places. Wherever the gods keep their homes, it's likely not easy to teleport into those locations unless you are invited, I imagine.
Interesting. Just twice in one conversation to hear about places we can't teleport into.
At least we know the ruins have been there for ever, but the situation with Itzamna is newer.
I admit I'm extremely curious about this place for many reasons. I look around to everyone and say, I understand that there are things we need to do immediately, but hopefully at some point between the Inquisition now and the Inquisition meeting, we can take a brief detour to Itzama.
Valentine Miller as well also has the information that the journey on foot through the Umil Woods is roughly 10 days. Umil Woods are very large.
Valentine,
We will-
how long did you march before you found yourself back where you started?
That is a good question. DM, how long did we march for?
So yourself and Miller had attempted the entry at the closest point, on your way, the normal route, and you had found that you came in and seemingly found yourself walking straight out. It didn't seem as if time had passed. You attempted a couple of times again, but to no effect. You skirted around the borders of the woods, attempting again and again to get in at different entry points, but to the same effect. After spending a good number of days attempting different entrances, this is when you had decided to head back to Merranzen, and this is how you'd found yourself stopping in at Elin on the way back.
Is there like a fog, or does it look normal over there?
It looks normal.
Okay, I have an idea. We get an airship. We drop from an airship into into the city. Because we've tried from the ground, now we try from the sky.
This is one of the things about Izama. Izama does not have a skyport, so airships do not usually travel there. But from what we understand, they have tried to survey the area and the airspace above. They enter into the airspace and find that the airship has been turned around.
Oh, I was hoping I was just gonna jump off the airship. You don't have to land. I'll jump.
What is the city past that city? What is beyond there?
The DM hasn't filled in that part of the world yet, so I'll come back to.
It is
The
unknown.
the world is flat. I mean, you fall off the edge. The world's flat.
To know that it is unknown. That is
Checkmate.
also an answer.
But yeah, I imagine there will be some things, towns, other villages.
Demio's past that. You know, the dark side of the moon, the unknown.
It seems that we'll make an addendum to our original plans, and we will not be leaving the city until this Inquisition meeting is done.
Except for the Undercity, right? Does the Undercity and the Merranzen count as the same place?
Yeah,
It's like right on.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
cool.
the same place.
Cool.
To
I
take a
agree. Need to get
moment, rest, meet with this dragon who wishes to meet with us, make a plan with them,
He's a dragonborn.
and then ground zero.
Okay.
I think
That's-
that
I don't know what to
is an
expect.
excellent order in doing things.
Wait, I was gonna have one more question. Is there any other dragons that we know of that are still alive besides, her?
There are lots of dragons around the
Like
world.
actual dragons?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, there are dragons around the world potentially. For sure, the world is very, very large. So yes, that you actively know of and
Even
know
like
of in the city. The odds aren't likely. If there are more in the city itself, the odds aren't likely that you would know about them.
Mm.
But it wouldn't be particularly shocking.
It wouldn't be particularly shocking. As you've seen, Sean does not, walk around the city as a dragon. She prefers to be in her human form. So
I thought it was supposed to be a great secret that she's a dragon.
she just likes to keep secrets and play games with people, but it's not like a secret. It's like a this will be fun when they find out.
Oh, I
She
thought it was
just
like
likes
that
being
secret.
dramatic.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was that secret, like now I feel like I'm in the folds. I know this.
I mean, she's
Yeah.
also walking around as a member of an extinct species.
I mean, she could have been a
dramatic,
changeling
extinct
too. I thought she
completely.
was a changeling until we figured out she was a dragon. I thought she was a changeling, just screwing with people.
This is Sean likes to, she's got a bit of that tricksiness about her. She likes it.
Oh man, I thought she was like the only the most the child the childhood friend next door is what I thought she was. I thought she was that trope character. No, it's gone.
She is, but it's also the one that likes to play pranks.
The one that throws a snowball at you as soon as you walk out to your house in winter.
I guess, yeah. You can you could put that there. But always good natured. It's not like if somebody finds out she's a dragon, she's like she doesn't particularly care, but she likes to have that shock factor.
I would ask her if she knows of any other dragons in the city, or at least fighting on our side.
Maybe.
Insight check.
Sure, make an insight check.
It's coming through the mail. FedEx is doing it, so it's gonna take a while.
See how the old modem sound beat.
27.
27. Good lord.
I see through all your lies.
She's not lying to you. When she says maybe, it's definitely coming across as like fun, and that yeah, but you know, why would I tell you? It's not your business.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that as that is. I don't want to read her thoughts and get in trouble. I'm sure reading a guildmaster's thoughts going to get you somewhere you don't want to be.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble, not like, you know, they think weird things. They probably have very important things in their mind, and you probably learn secrets you shouldn't know, like how the government works and all that.
I mean, the chance is always there.
I was waiting for you to think, and it's like all you see is like all these military battle plans, and you're like, you realize that secretly, the guilds are secretly planning to overthrow the government, and they want to, take the crown from the Dragonborn. You're like, guys, I think we screwed up.
Revolution.
I don't know what I would do with that. Here, probably like, I heard nothing, I saw nothing, I do nothing. I'm the wise. I'm all three wise monkeys. I see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil.
So, would you be needing to take a rest then before I arrange this meeting with Lord Nassan?
Yep, right here. I've always loved the tables here. They're always so comfortable.
You have quarters. But
they're all the way down, but they're already down 5 flights of stairs, though.
Down should be easier than up.
True. If you jump, you would hit. I hear that you would hit the bottom at 5 seconds if you jump.
A rest would be welcome, and then perhaps we investigate the attack site while the other plans become arranged.
Do your wings still work, Trixel?
Do I? I'm sorry?
Do your wings still work, or are they just there for show now?
I push the chair back and I stand up and give a few flaps, and it's a different kind of flying. It's more like a bird than a bug, but I can get my feet off the ground.
Oh, okay.
But I don't hover anymore like I used to.
Okay, I was just curious if she doesn't. She can't. If she doesn't fly anymore. So I'm like, oh.
She flies really fast.
But not like a helicopter like I could before. It's more active.
Like
flying.
a plane.
Oh, that kind of like breaks my heart a little bit.
You're like a jet instead of a helicopter, right?
Yeah.
Well, I won't stop you from resting on the table, dear. You're welcome to stay here. But yes, please get some rest, and I will send a missive to Lord Nassan.
Hey, Valentine, are you gonna go see your family since you're in the city? You don't know how long you're gonna be around. You don't know how long you're gonna hang here.
No, I thought I'd go lie down on the street and have a sleep there. That was a joke.
Oh,
apologies.
That was sarcasm.
No joke. I 100% thought you were just gonna go, and just like, get like, one of the, just get like this, like one of those posters and just hang up on them, like, oh.
Liliana did say I need to work on my sarcasm. Perhaps I'll do that while I'm here.
Do not worry. Your seriousness is refreshing.
already seem quite proficient.
Why, thank you. I will report the good news to my wife then.
Well, as you
Do you need
all
help?
disperse to take your rests,
I'm just gonna look over to Chalk and say, Chalk, do you remember your way home? Do you need help?
Way home.
his room's
Yeah.
down. He has a room downstairs,
I was
just
gonna
like
say,
you.
I-
Just-
have a-
I was
I
saying
have a-
We
because
all
if he
have
was
rooms
drinking,
downstairs.
I was talking about him drinking.
Oh.
He's been drinking for a
I'm
while.
now.
Do you need help?
I'll grab another beer. No, I'm good. I'll stumble my way somewhere.
We actually find him out there in the street. How'd you get way out here? I don't know, man. It was like 3 cups of beer later, and now I'm out on the street.
It just happened that way. It just happened that way. Well, yeah. So all of you managed to take a bit of a rest. Is there anything anyone wants to do just before that or after that?
Oh yeah, I was gonna show Texel the part of the building that you can see the forest and the or swamp from my telescope.
Yeah, you can
Doing that
get
from
to
my
you
side.
can get to the roof of the building.
Yeah, I mean, I would show Trixel that. I'm like, see, can you see? He's like, you can see the whole growers field from here, and over there's your swamp. And I give her my telescope so she could see it.
Is it my swamp? My swamp?
I think so, because I'm sure it's like in the same
v-
part.
There's a difference. There's the one that you worked on,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the one that you're from.
Mm-hmm.
So the telescope, the Merranzen is quite tall. This building is not the tallest in the city, so I wouldn't say you'd be able to see your swamp, but from here, yeah, you'd be able to see the site that you worked on, the swamp that you helped to build, for sure.
How does it look?
It's looking like it is flourishing, it is doing very, very well, and there are many good sights to see through this telescope. Being higher up like this is not something you are not used to, being a flying entity, but the extra vision that you get, or the distance that you can get with the telescope, is quite refreshing. You witness that there are a couple of people that are enjoying themselves near the swamp, like wading through and sort of like collecting plants, and you are able to see some of the different skyports around the city when looking through the telescope, and the cable cars that sort of move through the various locations. And it is, to you, an oddly comforting experience, in that you have this feeling that so much does happen within the city that there are bound to be moments of happiness and joy and tender moments. But there are also bound to be people within the city that are having a really hard time right now, and people that are just going about their daily activities. It's from this perspective, even knowing all the things that and the troubles that there are going on, at least from this perspective, everything still feels or looks balanced.
Can we see the attack site from here?
It's quite far.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look for a few minutes, and then I take a step back from the telescope and I squeeze Dew's hand. And it's a very sort of bittersweet look, countenance, and thank you.
Hopefully that gave you some clarity to know that after every rainstorm, that's when all the most beautiful flowers are the ones that flourish the most.
Oh, we've had quite a rainstorm.
People people often forget how beautiful peace is until they witness tragedy, as he puts it back in his coat.
That is the way of things. And I give his hand another squeeze, and I turn to leave.
Valentine, you're making your way to your home?
After a long time, yes. Finally
Hmm.
home.
What does your home look like?
It's a modest 2-story wooden house, likely on a hill somewhere, overlooking some center sections of the city, or at least elevated in some way if it is part of an apartment complex or something like that. It overlooks sort of a market area. In fact, the market area where he and his wife Liliana first met. And it's very modest. There is just very simple chairs, tables, toys for when his daughter Ginny was growing up, still laid around. Some of them on the shelves as remembrances, and some rugs underneath. But they're very minimalistic because a lot of their previous lives, Liliana often worked with churches and did a lot of charity work, and so gave away a lot of the money that they earned to people who needed it. And so they never had any luxury or lavish things. So it's very, very minimalistic in its way, very homely. And yeah, the second story is specifically entirely for Ginny, their daughter. And they sleep downstairs, sort of closer towards the living room, where there's a nice fireplace, sort of reading area, and then there's a kitchen connected to that. And it's snug. It's not small. It's not large. It's nicely in between for 3 people to live in. That's how I would describe it.
Very nice. How old is Ginny now?
Ginny, I believe, is 7 now. Yes, 7 years old.
Very nice. And just because I can't quite remember right now. Liliana, is she also Azamar, or?
Yes, I would say so. That would be their sort of first point of contact. Is Valentine probably got because they originally met through break up a dispute in the marketplace, and making sure that every person was unharmed, and they used their clerical magics to heal the people. And subconsciously, Valentine talked to Liliana in Celestial by accident, and somehow that sort of created a little comedic routine between the two of them, where they always greet each other with a Celestial hello rather than common or any other language. Yeah.
At this time of day, when you enter into the house, as lunch had passed, and so there isn't the sense of cooking or anything like that going on. It is closer to the time of day where people would be taking their sort of first pause, as it were, first breath, as what it's called. So it's closing in on like after lunch, midday. So if anyone is getting ready to do a little bit of this would be first pause. So this is a time of day which is closing in on you're about 3 hours away from sunset now. Sometimes people end up just having a nap in this time. Other people just go out and do shopping and just rest and do all these type of things. But it is it's an area of a time of day which they call first pause here. So your wife is indeed home, and your daughter is happily building some puzzles in the table in the kitchen area, and your wife is sort of like deciding what she might actually make for dinner, and she is sort of a little bit surprised by the sound of the door opening, and turns to look at you and has a light smile on her face. And in Celestial, she says, "It took you long enough."
Valentine responds in common this time and says, "Sorry, I'm late." And he's wearing his armor. He's probably very unused to the home life. Something is very off about this scene. It's not, a family man returning home. It is a soldier stepping into someone's house. There's dirt coming in on the boots. The armor's like all still ready to go. And he sort of pauses there as if something is supposed to happen. And he closes his eyes, sort of focuses for a moment, as if there's something just on the tip of his tongue or the tip of his head that he's trying to connect with. But the moment passes quickly, and he starts to unstrap his boots and step inside. "I'm sorry it's so long. I didn't realize all the things I would get caught up in."
Liana does come sort of close to you, and she actually picks up the boots and sort of shakes her head at you and puts them sort of like near the door where the others are. "You're gonna track mud in, and it's all
Right.
nice and clean."
You're right. I'm not quite myself right now.
Yeah,
Let me get out of this quickly.
She does touch you on the shoulder and gives you just a light kiss on the head. She says, "You're doing fine."
Thank you. He gestures to Ginny doing the puzzle. How was her studies?
Very, very good, actually. To be honest, we have been approached to put her into some programs in the academy in the Undercity.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very impressive then.
And Ginny actually does look up from the puzzle at the sound of your voices there, and big smile on the face, comes running and says, "You're home."
I'm home. He sort of awkwardly doesn't know whether to like hold out his hands for a hug or to like pick her up. So he sort of just opens his arms up slightly, gives her a smile. I think in that moment, he sort of has that weird warmth in his chest, as if there's something here, but he's not quite there. He knows he's meant to be feeling something. He's sort of replicating it almost, like his mind is tricking him that I should be feeling this way, so therefore we're going to feel that way.
Mm.
He just lifts his arms up and smiles. This is a different smile, though, to what he usually does.
It's good to see you, Daddy.
It's good to see you too, Ginny.
they gave me this puzzle to work on. Apparently, not everyone my age can do this. So it's what was that word again? It's complicated.
You already know such huge words. I'm not surprised that they're giving you such challenging things. You're incredibly talented at what you do.
Thank you, Daddy. I am talented.
So-
You hear that, Mom? I'm talented.
She is. It's all about hard work.
Mm. Well,
me-
you stink, Daddy.
That's right. I do. You have no idea the kind of days I've had. Tell you what, I will get out of this. I'm going to bathe so that I don't distract you from your puzzles, and I'm going to help your mum with dinner. How does that sound?
Okay. And she goes back immediately to the puzzle that she is working on, and it's very much a three-dimensional sort of puzzle where there are different blocks that you have to move around and different gears you have to move around in certain ways. It's kind of like I don't know. I want to say it's something that you can imagine like a Vulcan child would work on. Because it is, it's supposed to be complicated. Because, like, yeah, I mean, you're really smart. We're gonna see if you could solve this. Yeah, you should probably be going to the academy.
Valentine's gonna make their way upstairs to the bathroom that they have with the tub, undressing all the armor as well. But through the process, they are also going to take all of their money that they've accrued and are going to put it in this collective box that they have, which is sort of a safe keep that is their family's sort of funds. Like Valentine sort of disappears for several months, comes back with all the money they've earned, places into this box, and that is their family's upkeep. They're paying for the academy, paying for all these different things. So they are literally going to take every single coin and just put it into here, emptying their wallet.
We
Before
have
they
we haven't actually divvied up the amount there, but it's a ton of money. It's y'all got quite a haul, so it's a lot of money. We should do the math off camera.
Yeah, it's all through there. Get washed before they go back downstairs and help with whatever cleaning, cooking, house preparation, organization, puzzle solving that they need to do.
It's it's very nice. It is also, as you say, Valentine, you're trying to relearn these things or figure out what it means, and there are gaps. And there are times when the gaps bother you, but it's almost as if, do they bother you because people think that you should be bothered by them? Or do they actually bother you? But your wife does make some conversation with you, and as does your daughter. And there's a point later on in the evening, once everything is settled down and people are getting ready for their rest, and your daughter is asleep, and your wife sort of makes some hot chocolate, as she does. This is one of the things that's sort of canon in the world, is a very sort of like proper traditional like Mayan style hot chocolate, which is very bitter and has chili powder in it and it's frothy, and it's a traditional Thala drink as well. But yeah, so it's not like your idea of oh yeah, it's this hot chocolate, it's gonna be sweet, I'm gonna put marshmallows on. It's like, no, it's not that kind of thing. It's more like akin to a child would probably be like, no, I don't want that. It's too bitter. But adults, yeah, this is very much an adult beverage. And she sort of sits down, and I was speaking to some of the oracles at the Knowers while you were gone. And if you feel you're at a point where you want to try, they can begin working with you.
Is it dangerous in any way?
Probably. Nobody really knows what happened to you, Valentine.
That's the main thing I wish I knew. If I knew what it was, it would be easier to deal with. But here we are. We get the occasional glimpse. Something. The movement of someone's cheek when they smile. The cry of someone in the distance, but it's faint, it's inaccurate, and it's few and far between in the strangest moments. Perhaps it is time we try something more drastic.
If anyone would know how to go about rebuilding memories or a mind, I imagine you'd find it at the Knowers.
It just so happens I have the right kind of people to ask about that now. I suppose someone out there is making sure that I have the means to come back.
You still worry, and that is a good sign that you're not gone, Valentine.
It's difficult to trust it when I don't know if you'll have to forgive me when I say if I wasn't always just like this, or if that was someone else. It's like I woke up in this body like this. Just born this way. It's hard for me to imagine any other way. But enough doom and gloom, I suppose. I was handed these by someone not so long ago. Reaches into one of his pockets, pulls out the 3 marbles that Du gave him not so long ago, and hands them to Liliana. All 3 of them. This, apparently, I'm told, supposed to bring a variety of good luck my way, but feels more appropriate that you and Ginny should hold on to them. It feels that way.
She takes them in her hand and she looks at them, and they are beautiful, thank you. And she sort of holds them up and says, as she sort of places them down on a table and lifts her hand, But I don't believe in luck. I believe in doing. But they will make a very beautiful bracelet.
I think Jenny would like that.
I think she would. Get some sleep.
Yes. Somehow you are able to tell. Always. I am exhausted.
Yes, you are. Come. And she takes you to sleep. And all of you have a very, very comfortable sleep this evening. It's nice to be back home, to know that you have things to do and things to attend to is one thing, but you experienced a lot in that structure, that Nautiloid. You learned a lot. And the things that you've collected, the metallic plate from a book that seems to tell the creation story as is, the rubbings from the walls that seem to tell a very different creation story, the artifacts that you have in terms of the puzzle box and the control orb. You have a lot, but you still managed to sleep. Get some good rest in. And we will pick up there, not next week, as it is Gen Con, and some of us are on vacation, some of us will be at Gen Con, but the week after. So, for our amazing viewers, these episodes are up on YouTube, so feel free to have a look at them. For those of us who have just followed today, thank you for the new followers. It's wonderful. For those of us who have been catching this from the beginning, we love you very much and see you in 2 weeks after Gen Con. Bye-bye.